Welcome to the Beer Podcast. My name's Nick Mins. Today's podcast, I am lucky to be joined by Gareth Ashton. He's come to us from Andy's Man Club. Morning, Gareth. How are you doing, mate? All right?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. As I say, still getting used to this, the way of Zoom instead of meeting face to face. It's so strange. Even a year on, I still can't get used to it properly. Basically, if you just want to explain who you are, Gareth, and a little bit about Andy's Man Club.
I'm Gareth Ashton. I now facilitate at Andy's Man Club in Hull. We're quite fortunate we've got use of some good venues there. I've recently took on the sort of one of the leading roles after running the online groups for a while. We've now got back to doing face-to-face groups, COVID friendly and smaller groups and social distancing and stuff. I've been attending the group for about 2 years now. Started to go and use the group for help and then progressed on and found that sort of helping myself, then I could help others, and in turn it sort of spirals on really.
That's brilliant. So, I mean, for those who don't know, what briefly is Andy's Man Club, really?
Andy's Man Club, it's a peer-to-peer support for men over 18 who are suffering sort of any sort of storm, really, whether it's minor or major, really. The main aim is to stop male suicide, as that's a massive pandemic in itself. But you don't have to be suicidal to attend. You don't have to be diagnosed by a doctor or anything. Just if you genuinely feel you've got something to get off your chest or something to air or something that's bothering you, then the door's open for you. Because we want to talk about it and want to break them stigmas that bottling it up's all right to do type thing. We need to talk and let it all out.
There's so many people that I've spoke to, like men and women, but men especially. I think it's maybe a masculine thing that men think that they're just they have to maybe deal with things, and it's sometimes I think there's that thing of being macho men, and if you show your feelings, it's weakness. Breaking that stigma and allowing men to actually kind of feel like they've got, I suppose, a safe place where they can maybe open up, especially to kind of facilitate that ongoing support from as well is like a massive thing. So you say, do you do like, so you say you do like the support groups, so kind of like chat groups, are they online as well as in person? I know you said about, because I know probably done some kind of larger group meetings, but obviously with COVID, it's kind of knocked everything back, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're obviously the COVID restrictions are all venue specific, depending on their guidelines as well for what we do. But we're still meeting in face-to-face groups in smaller numbers, and they're running national groups now online. So every group runs the same, whether it's face-to-face or online. We still work on the same basic 5 questions that every night runs on. So that's the main thing. We used to have a football that got passed around the room, and when you had the ball, that was your time to speak, and that was it. Whether you spoke or not, the room had your attention. And where now we just sort of have to be very, very politely give a nod and pass the sort of the talking over to the next person. And that's about it, really. Yeah, it's a very basic concept that we do, but it works really well.
I mean, I like the idea of that football, to be honest with you. It's kind of like what they do in, I suppose what they do in primary schools, isn't it? When they're kind of trying to encourage children to kind of talk a little bit and, integrate a little bit more. But yeah, I understand that, some people just, they're really, the kind of, if you want, they want to be in an environment where they kind of feel like they're with people who are going through the same sort of thing. Obviously, this, if people are suffering from kind of like anxiety, that kind of talking about it will really kind of make them, panic a bit about it, really. So you said that you've been doing it for 2 years. So, if you don't mind me asking, have you gone through?
I walked in there really, really like just a shell of a man, really. I was, I didn't feel anything. I was completely numb and emotionless and just didn't really have any get up and go or no interest in anything, really. And after seeing the club on Facebook a few times, watching it, and thought, I'll give it a go. They look like the, normal folk, really, and see what happened. And after walking through the door and seeing a few people after the first session, it was, it just felt safe straight away and felt like quite a big weight had been lifted. And we get that story time and time again off people, saying they just felt, so much better and could walk that bit higher after walking out just after the first session. And then you see it coming back week on week and confidence growing and growing. And yeah, it's amazing to watch now from a facilitator side, seeing new people coming in. But yeah, I was just there, the same, suffering, and they helped me out.
That's brilliant. I mean, we talked about this. I had a laugh podcast the other night, and was talking about with the support that a lot of these kind of groups like Andy's Man Club, the Mental Health Hub, and a lot of other Facebook groups. I think the amazing thing about them is that they're actually run by people who have been in that position as well. So they've been down that road, or they are still currently suffering from some form of mental health. Yeah. But I think it's unique in the way that it actually allows the people who are coming into it, who are coming into the group, or they're actually like joining you, to kind of feel like they're not just being seen by someone who hasn't got a clue what it feels like. They're actually being seen in the kind of there's a lot of relatability from the facilitators to the people who are actually joining, and I think that's brilliant, really.
Yeah, I think the two sort of services go hand in hand, really. Like, obviously, professional service that offer the advice and the all the exercises to do, and then the side that we do with the peer-to-peer, like you say, somebody who's relatable and has gone through something and is maybe 6 months down the line further from you and can pass on slight bits of advice. When we're sat in rooms and you've got lots of people saying, well, I tried this, I tried that, you can then pick away from them little bits, and suddenly you've got this little sort of toolbox of ideas that you can put into place, and they all might work for you, might not, but they're out to try. And that's the sort of beauty of having that wealth of experience, I suppose, of life experience from it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, like myself, this is something what we've touched on is I had CBT a few years ago, but I didn't feel like it worked. But once I had counselling and I was able to kind of talk, then when I had CBT again, I felt a lot more accepting about it. So I think these groups that are allowing people to come in and just kind of talk, and feel like they're protected and they're surrounded by people who really understand, then when it kind of comes to things like CBT and the other therapies that go with it, I think it does kind of break down that little barrier that's maybe in front of them as well.
Yeah, you're a little bit more open-minded to it. But like, even on a Monday, we don't expect people to talk. Some people just find comfort in coming and listening for the first few weeks and getting their head around that there is, a room of another 10, 15 people. We're all going through sort of similar storms, and sort of finding a little bit of comfort in it, really, like you're not alone, and then you can relate to other people's issues and think, yeah, that is exactly how I'm feeling. And then it enables them to open up slightly about it. So yeah, there's never even any pressure to talk, even though we do say, it is okay to talk. We can come down and listen to a group for a few weeks first, and that's it.
Yes, but I suppose it's letting people kind of feel comfortable enough to come into an environment and then allowing them to open up gradually, which I think's just brilliant that, there's not that pressure from, right, you have to come down, you have to talk. You're kind of saying, look, it is good to talk, but you talk when you're ready to talk. When you feel comfortable, you open up. And I say, the messages that I've seen on a lot of the groups that have been, especially in Hull, and nationwide as well, because like you say, Andy's Man Club, I've noticed that they are kind of around the UK now. There's a few groups popping up all over the place.
Nearly 40 now.
Yeah,
groups coming up for that. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So that support, the support network is everywhere. It's brilliant. But I just think that people sometimes don't know where to tap into these things. These.
I found that, yeah, when I was sort of right in the middle of it all, thinking I need help. Where do I go? What is there? What is out there? You sort of know that if you've got, you go to A&E or to your doctors or something, but where do you go for sort of mental health issues and advice? It's but we're getting there now, aren't we? We're banging that drum and we're showing more information to people.
Exactly. That thing of, I suppose, that information, like even when you used to go to your doctor and they used to do some sort of referral. Now a lot of it is self-referral. So it's, when I went before, it was, I will give you this number if you want to call them and self-refer. And as much as I kind of feel like that's good, there's some people who won't pick up that phone. The people get that number and go, oh, I can't ring them. I can't, maybe they'll feel comfortable talking about it. So but again, these groups and the fact that more information starting to come through now of where these groups are available, you know, I mean, social media is a great platform, you know, for these groups to be tapped into, really, especially on like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter in certain amount. But I think Facebook's, you know, been the biggest one for people to kind of tap into.
I saw Andy's Man Club sort of advertised through a local company who one of their members of the shop, they went and they sort of says, you know, we don't trade on a Monday anymore because I go to this club and it's really helping me out. So they was quite honest and open. So then that led me to then go and find Andy's Man Club on Facebook and follow that. So it was somebody speaking about it himself who then led me to it as opposed to, you know, the actual page itself. Yeah, that's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
One person recommends.
Word of mouth is as good as anything, isn't it? And it said like that person opened up, felt comfortable enough to say, look, I've gone to this group. It's really worked for me. Do you know? And you've maybe thought, oh right, yeah. Do you know what? If it's, you know, I might give that a go myself. And just that, you know, ease out one person straight away. Do you know? And then just by talking, it allows other people to kind of.
Yeah, when you start looking, you think, wow, you know, if that guy's suffering, and you know all the things maybe he's got, and you know, you maybe shouldn't stereotype like type, should you? But you look at people and think, God, you're suffering. I wouldn't have thought you would, and you're opening up about it. So, you know, maybe more people are. The more and more we do it, the more and more it normalise it, can't we?
I mean, when we was live on the podcast the other night, there was I had a guest on, and one of his friends had actually wrote in on the comments and opened up, and my mate had gone. I didn't even know he'd gone through that. So just by us kind of doing it the other night, he kind of felt comfortable to come on and write this, you know, this message. So it kind of felt really good that, I say, people are just starting to open up that little bit more about it. I mean, have you noticed any? Because a lot of questions, you know, one of the main questions, sorry, that I asked at the moment is, have you witnessed any real kind of change with regards to like the current situation with COVID lockdowns? Are you seeing more, or is it just is it pretty standard, really?
We're sort of down in numbers, really, people attending the groups, but I don't know if that's more from like anxiety of people wanting to attend, or I don't know, but I feel there is a lot of sort of anxiety around the world at the minute with people not knowing what to do. You know, you can't go near people anymore, can you, without being masks and gloves? And
no.
We're sort of almost in this sort of state of grief for normal life, aren't we? It's, you know, we don't know what's going on from day to day at the minute. So I think it is affecting a lot of people, and we might see a bit of a fallout from it, really, as you know, as things go on. But hopefully we've got all this support there, and we can sort of be there to help, can't we, when we do?
Yeah, exactly. You know, if the support's there from when, like you say, I suppose it's, you don't have a crystal ball and you can't see into the future with regards to like what sort of, I mean, it will have an effect, but what the effect will be, I suppose, no one really knows. And like you say, if the numbers are down, it's maybe a bit of anxiety for people actually feeling like whether or not they feel comfortable coming in. Yeah. Into, I mean, my wife, she don't really kind of like suffer from kind of like depression or all like that, but her anxiety levels have gone through the roof. Do you know, like, she don't feel comfortable going to shops. I mean, she used to love kind of going to like the shops, kind of get bits in. Don't really like that anymore. So it's kind of like, if that's affecting people who don't normally kind of go through these sort of things, then people who are actually going through health anxiety, depression, you know, general anxiety disorder, you know, it's going to have a massive effect on the way that they actually live their everyday lives, really.
Yeah, the amount of like clubs and like sports and everything that stopped, and that may have been like one person's only sort of social outcome, might be, you know, going to football on a Saturday might have been the only time they socialised and felt sort of safe with people, and that's been took away from them, you know. And so that one outlet that they might have enjoyed, having that taken away, is then stemmed onto them not feeling great, and you know, little things like that can really tip somebody over the edge, can't they?
Yeah, that's it. So just to kind of finish off, so website-wise, what's the website that people can find you at?
If they just email, the website is andysmanclub.co.uk, and the email address, if they want anything, is info@andysmanclub.co.uk, and the lovely people at head office will sort you out, really, send you all the information and things. We have to fill track and tracing at the minute, obviously with all COVID and stuff like that, so they'll just email you out a form to ask whether you're attending and where you want to go, or obviously, if you just want to know more about the club, I'm quite happy to answer any questions possible.
And you're on Facebook as well, aren't you? Andy's
On
Man Club
Facebook,
on
yeah.
Facebook, yeah.
And obviously, we've all got, there's a head office Facebook, and then we've all got our regional ones as well. So there's a whole Facebook one as well.
Awesome.
Along with all the others.
It's brilliant. As I say, just keep up the good work, mate. Honestly, I think it's just brilliant what people are doing at the moment, just to kind of help each other out, and that the fact that these groups are there to help people are just, especially in the current climate, is just brilliant. So just keep up the good work, mate. Thanks for joining us today, Gareth. I say much appreciated for your time. So yeah, thanks very much.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Remember, it's okay to talk.